let's kick it off with our bullish buy category, and for all you listeners out there in the DFS world, we're going to break down our normal formula where usually you got to pay up, pay the piper a little bit. Who are you paying up in your lineups? That'll be worth it, right? So we had the Brees Hall call last week. But Ethan, who are you bullish on in week 3?
Week 3, my bullish buy, actually kind of a cheap bullish buy, only 6,200, which I think is a steal for Jordan Mason, running back of the San Francisco 49ers. I just think this is a smash spot, right? Debo is not playing, so that just more carries that are going to go to Jordan Mason, and they're going to be playing with a positive game script. They're playing the Rams, who are without Puka and Cooper Kupp, and a very porous offensive line. So I think the Niners are going to absolutely shellac the Rams here. So I expect Jordan Mason to get a ton of carries in a positive game script. Right now, the Niners are favored. They're -7 right now on the DraftKings line. Jordan Mason right now is 4th in running back snap share at 81%, 2nd in carry share, 76%, 8th in route run share at 56%, and 8th in DraftKings fantasy points. And he's being priced right now at RB14. So like I said, I think it's a steal. Through the first 2 weeks, he has 48 carries for 247 yards and 2 touchdowns. That's 5.15 yards a carry. The Rams allow 5.5 yards a carry and a league-leading 57.7% rushing success rate. The Rams are 30th in average rushing yards allowed through the first 2 weeks and have allowed the second most points per game to running backs, 33.5. And it's just, like I said, it's just a smash spot for Jordan Mason. I think everything's going to lean towards the running game for the 49ers, and I think he's going to get another 20-plus carries, and he's going to definitely do damage with it. So I think Jordan Mason at 6,200 is actually a steal for a bullish buy.
Yeah, no, it's interesting. I like when this happens a lot on the show, but I was not planning on bringing up Jordan Mason, but he was definitely in my lineup. So in the competition we're playing against each other, we definitely both have Jordan Mason. So I love that call. Yeah, I just think Mason's the guy right now. Also should be a pretty favorable game script for him as well. So definitely love that call. Could not agree more. But as for me, I am going to pay up a little bit more expensive. And I'm going to go with none other than CeeDee Lamb. So CeeDee Lamb is 8,800. So although he is the most expensive wide receiver in DraftKings, 8,800, is sometimes, anything under 9,000 is a pretty good steal for, your elite wide receivers like your Chases, your Cups, your Tyreek Hills, and stuff like that. So CeeDee Lamb this week playing Baltimore, with that being the second over under, second highest over under of the week at 49 points. I think it's a very interesting matchup because both Baltimore and Dallas are both coming off of losses as well. So I think it's going to be a very intense game. On both sides, they both got to win. So I do feel that it's going to go back and forth a little bit. I know they're both good teams. They both have good defenses as well. Baltimore's coverage is kind of laxing a little bit, where Devontae Adams kind of cooked them, and then Rashee Rice the week before as well. So I really love Lamb in the Dallas offense this week. So I think just, looking at the intangibles of the game and then it being just a must-win game, I love CD this week.
Yeah, you can't really argue against putting CeeDee Lamb in your lineup. He is due for a breakout game. He's kind of had, I guess, 2 lackluster performances. I mean, under two games under 20 points, you expect CeeDee Lamb to eclipse that 20-point threshold almost every week. Obviously, he's not going to do that, but that's what we're hoping for when you put him in your lineup. He's kind of the only show in town right now. Until Ferguson comes back, which might be this week. I mean, Cooks needs to try to get going. Tolbert, who knows? But right now, I mean, CeeDee Lamb is Dak's obviously go-to guy. It should be a high-scoring affair against the Baltimore Ravens. So, in your case, you're hoping CD can go off, score some touchdowns, rack up those yards, and set you up nicely in our matchup together.
Yeah, we'll definitely see there. But yeah, I like these guys this week. Good calls. Let's move on to defense. So this is our too deep section where we call out some of our favorite defensive plays, and I'll go ahead and kick this one off. And I'm gonna go with the Tampa Bay Buccaneers as my defense. This week they're only $3,000. I will throw out a caveat. They're not my favorite defense of the week. But I got a couple facts that I really like about having them anyway. One being 3,000 is pretty cheap. As I said, I paid up to get CD Lamb, but they're also favored. They're playing Denver at home, so they're playing in Tampa Bay. It's already a low over, and I think most of those points are going to come from Tampa Bay. So I think just that formula alone, where Tampa Bay is playing really good football right now, led by Baker, and then Bo Nix. I don't think he's doing horrible this year, but he definitely is struggling. So I think Tampa Bay can kind of take advantage of a rookie quarterback, and like I said, it's cheap. So I think being a favored defense at home for only 3,000 against a struggling offense is a smash play in my opinion. So I'm going Tampa Bay.
No, I actually like that call a lot, strictly based on the price you have to pay to get them in your lineup, going against a Bo Nix led offense which has been struggling the first 2 weeks. So I think the Bucks are in a smash spot. So I actually do really like that call. Like you said, it's not my favorite defense of the week, but for that price point, it actually might be my favorite defense of the week, just because it allows you to work your lineup a little easier at that price point. I'm going to go into my defense and going a similar route. I'm going to go the Seattle Seahawks. So a similar situation where you have Skylar Thompson going into Seattle. The Seattle Seahawks are playing the Miami Dolphins. Skylar Thompson, I don't think is going to be ready to go into Seattle and have a great game here. I think it's just going to be tough sledding all day. He didn't look very good when he came in for relief. Obviously, he's going to have a whole week of practice. Maybe he can get things cooking. But at the price point of 3,500, I do like the Seattle Seahawks. Right now, PFF through the first 2 weeks, they're the second ranked defense. They're the number one ranked defense. In terms of coverage, according to PFF. So I think they're going to give Skylar Thompson fits. Maybe, I mean, I guess my only, hesitation. I mean, it's still Tyreek Hill, it's still Jalen Waddle, but if you saw this Miami Dolphins team on prime time against the Buffalo Bills, they were once two left. It was pretty sad. So I'm rolling the dice with Seattle, hoping they can give Skylar Thompson trouble all day.
Yeah, I don't mind that call. I think there's a world where, Tyreek Hill can still get fantasy points, but Skylar Thompson can struggle, right? So I mean,
Yeah,
whether it's, throwing picks, pick sixes, whatever it is, I don't hate that call. What did you say the price point was on Seattle?
3,500.
35. Okay. Yeah. I mean, Seattle has built their defense over the past couple seasons where, they got some playmakers. So I can see it, maybe not in points, but I can see them making a couple big plays. And I think that's what you're going for here.
No, yeah, exactly. I mean, honestly, I don't care if Tyreek Hill or Jalen Waddle if they each break a touchdown off, right? It's not the end of the world giving up, I don't know, 14, 21 points, but I'm expecting Skylar Thompson to make some mistakes, maybe a pick six, fumble return, the big mistakes that really get you those fantasy points. So that's kind of what I'm banking on. I just don't think Skylar Thompson is that great of an NFL quarterback. And I'm going to take a unit in the Seattle Seahawks that have been playing pretty well. I mean, once they figured out New England last week, I mean, Jacoby Brissett had 32 passing yards in the second half. So I think Seattle is in a prime spot this week against Skylar Thompson.
Yep, good call there. So I guess that's enough about defenses. We're going to move on to the pick six category. And this is, I guess, my personal favorite category. This is where we got to try to find these value picks. And this is where you got to get guys in the lineup that are a little bit cheaper because you might have paid up, but, they're just enough value that you got a hunch that they're going to hit. So I'm going to kick this one off. And I'm gonna go with a guy that he came on my radar last year, his breakout week before he broke out, mind you. I will claim that. I'm gonna go with the guy that I've been high on. I'm gonna go with Tank Dell. Tank
Okay.
Dell for 5,200. So Tank Dell in week two didn't really give you what you were looking for. In their primetime game. I mean, had a couple of sweeps and really just had rushing yards, and I think he had negative receiving yards. But I'm gonna look I'm gonna look past that, right? Because
You
this
have
week
to.
you have to in DFS, right? But I'm gonna really zone in on this matchup. They're playing Minnesota, who is playing good football as well. But if we kind of rewind the clock just a little bit, Purdy still put up over 300 yards against Minnesota last week. Purdy after the game, I think it was captured in that post game, hot mic that Purdy, loved Brian Flores' scheme. He said, hey, his kind of crazy scheme he had going there. But I think I called this out week one that Flores just blitzes, right? He's last two seasons he's on a historic blitz rate, but more specifically zone blitzes, right? So I love that for Tank Dell, where he's at in that offense. So I think, with a lot of pressure and blitzing from Minnesota, I think that Tank Dell can be involved often. And that's where, I know I loved my Wandell pick in week one, and he got 12 targets, right? So I think I'm going to stick on this same category because I said I was close. I mean, you see the fire in my background right now. I'm heating up. Hopefully, hopefully I this one really takes off this week. But I'm kind of high on Tank Dell against the slot defense of Minnesota this week.
No, I mean, right now you're getting Tank Dell out of value. It's only been 2 weeks. The Texans offense, they're probably still trying to simulate all these pieces together, see how they work together. Tank Dell is going to have a spike weeks, and why not week 3, right? I think Tank Dell is a very talented player. CJ Stroud loved Tank Dell last year, looked his way a ton. So I think it's a matter of time before we do see a Tank Dell game. I do think both these offenses are playing well, so hopefully they can put up some points. But I just love the upside with Tank Dell at this price point. So even though he hasn't really been great thus far, I think it's a good dart throw. His floor, unfortunately, is very low, but obviously we know what type of ceiling he has. Unfortunately, has that ceiling been brought down too far due to Diggs and the Nico Collins just like surge right now? Maybe. It's only, like I said, I'm not going to really panic too much with Tank Dell. It's only been 2 weeks, but what we've seen so far is Nico Collins is the alpha, and Diggs is being heavily utilized in the red zone. So where does that leave Tank Dell? Right now, the distant third receiving option on this team. Hopefully this week, for your sake, he can start bouncing back.
I hope so. Like I mentioned, I had Tank Dell radar last year. Hopefully, it's coming back at the right time in 2024. But Ethan, let's hear about your first pick six player.
So my first pick six player right now is my flag plant, and a guy that I think is just going to continue to get better and better week in and week out, and that's my guy Brock Bowers. He's coming in at a price of 5,400, and honestly, I think with Brock Bowers, that's a steal. That's only going to go get higher and higher week to week. I mean, we're talking about a guy that has 17 targets in his first 2 weeks of the NFL, right? This guy's a rookie. He already has 17 targets through 2 weeks. Devontae Adams has 18. Minshew's looking at him just as much as Devontae Adams. They were trying to get the ball to him in a multitude of ways last week. In the short pass game down the field, he had 9 catches, 9 targets for 98 yards, and was essentially like a half yard short of falling into the end zone. So Brock Bowers, I think it just wheels up against a pretty bad Carolina Panthers passing defense. Obviously, teams have been lighting them up. My only hesitation with Brock Bowers is that they get up too much on the Carolina Panthers, but hey, maybe the Red Rifle will save us and give us a little more points, a little more points on that end. But right now, Brock Bowers, he's right now in terms of first read share amongst all tight ends, he's number 2 with 27%. McBride is ranked number 1 with 28%. He's one of the focal points of this offense, and he's going to continue to grow in this offense. And it's just crazy what he's able to do right now through his first 2 weeks. I've been high on him all offseason. I thought he was going to come in and dominate right away, just like he did at Georgia as a rookie. And that's exactly what's happening. So if I can get a guy that has tight end overall number 1 upside for $5,400 in my lineup, I'm going to do it.
Yeah, you know what? I like this call a lot. I like you've talked me into Bowers. I've rode along the ride with you, so I'm seeing it firsthand. I definitely like what he's throwing out there, but I also like what you're kind of cooking up here against the Panthers. So I was looking a little bit closer to that spread. It's only a 40. It's a low scoring spread at 40 points, but it only has the Raiders favored by 5 points at home too. So I think Vegas is also on the same lines that maybe the Red Rocket can kind of be the Panthers savior, and I do want to see some back and forth a little bit. So I would love to see Dalton throw 1 or 2 touchdowns as well and kind of keep the Raiders in it, just enough for Bowers to stay involved. So I don't mind that pick, and hopefully it kind of goes that way. But it's interesting you brought up a tight end because I'm going to do that as well. And I guess I'll just prelude it where, there's certain guys in DFS where sometimes you just got to buy low on. Tank Dell was an example. This is another guy. He's coming in at tight end 4,800. I know, week one.
I already know where
Week
this is
one,
going.
week one, everybody was up in arms, right? But I'm going with Mark Andrews, right, with week one. Going back to that game, same exact reason why I got CD Lamb in my lineup. I want to target this game, the Baltimore Dallas game. I think Lamar's got to still throw it to Mark Andrews. Last week he had a little bit of an uptick in week 2. No breakout yet, but 5 targets, 50 yards, nothing to brag about yet. But I think against Dallas in Dallas, it's going to be a tough game for the Ravens, so they're going to have to they're going to have to put on their best game, right? So I like Andrews. He's also great. I called it out before, just as PFF grade against man and zone. And Dallas actually is a very balanced defense when it comes to man and zone snap wise. So I don't think scheme really plays into too much effect here. Throwing Andrews in your lineup, and like I said, I think Ravens have to keep the foot on the gas, and even in the passing game. So I'm going Mark Andrews, and once again, his price point's only 4,800 this week.
I think this is a smash call, and is a call I was very close to make, but I could not pass up my guy Brock Bowers. So I just think Bowers right now has more upside than Mark Andrews, but that could change rather quickly with an Andrews bounce back. Likely went back to being the tight end 2 on this team. And what I heard a lot after the Kansas City game too is like the Ravens do like to change things up quite a bit against the Kansas City Chiefs. So sometimes you can't take too much about what their offensive scheme is or what they were trying to do too much in terms of like projecting that out. Um, as we go from week to week, but and as the season continues. But Mark Andrews, I think, is going to get his legs under him. Like we talked about before, he had that car accident. He missed some time. He looked a little winded in week one. Now you have a whole week of practice. You play in week two. Now we're heading to week three. So hopefully Mark Andrews kind of gets his legs back underneath him, and we start to see the Mark Andrews of old, the tight end one that we're used to seeing.
I hope so. I got my fingers crossed. But Ethan, let's go on to your next pick six player.
Yeah, so my next pick six player, I cheated a little bit in terms of the price point, but I couldn't help myself with Jamison Williams, $5,800. I just think he has way too much upside to keep out of your lineups, especially with the Amon-Ra news. I know it's only a contusion, but hey, you don't know how he's going to react. It's a pain tolerance thing, and Jamison Williams has been a staple of this offense. And Sam Laporta, unfortunately, has been relegated to a distant number 3 option in this offense, and that's due to the emergence of Jamison Williams. I mean, Jamison Williams had 9 and 11 targets in his first 2 weeks. In week 1, 5 for 121 and a touchdown, and last week 5 for 79. This has the highest over under of the main slate, 52.5. There's going to be a lot of points against the Arizona Cardinals, and I just couldn't pass up Jamison Williams in my lineup. I just think with his skill set, with his profile, I mean, he could make his day in one play. So I just love the upside for 5,800 with the Arizona Lions matchup. So I was very excited to get JMO into my lineup.
Yeah, I like that call a lot, and I think for a couple reasons where Ethan, I think sometimes we live in this like parallel universe where we don't have these exact same guys, but we almost built our roster identically this week too. Because yeah, I love targeting the Dallas and the Ravens game, but this Lions and Cardinals game I love targeting as well. So I like Jamison Williams. He is not my next pick six player, but who I do have is I think a guy that you like.
Ooh, yes, yes.
I'm
Greg Dortch,
going,
baby.
yes, I am going Greg Dortch.
Here we go.
Getting a little down and dirty, but 4,500. I think in this over with 52.5 points, there's gonna be a lot of passing attempts, a lot of points scored, highest over the week, as you said. Dortch got he was a little quiet last week in the week 2 blowout with the Rams, and of course we saw the Marvin Harrison kind of took over the show there. But if we rewind the clock 2 weeks back to week 1 where the Cardinals played the Bills, which that was a very close knit game. Dortch had 8 targets in week 1, so I think in a back and forth game, Kyler Murray's got to kind of spread the ball out a little bit more. I'm going Greg Dortch this week as my cheapest pick six player.
No, I love the call, and I'm not going to delay the inevitable because he's my last pick six player too, Greg Dortch.
Nice.
Yeah, I wanted to attack that matchup. Yeah, there he is.
Okay, there he is. Okay.
I was really high on Greg Dortch coming into the season, and like you said, in week 1, he was playing at a 69% snap share, or sorry, 61% snap share, and that went down to 39% in week 2. But I don't think that's because Greg Dortch just got relegated to a minuscule role. They won 41-10. They weren't in 3 wide receiver sets too often in that second half. So Dortch being the slot receiver wasn't on the field as much. I mean, Dortch paced all receivers in week 1 with receptions and targets. And yeah, he went away in week 2, but they won 41-10. So it's, I mean, that's to be expected. I think with a 52.5 over under against a Lions team that can put up points, that needs to have a bounce back game themselves. If the Lions can put up points, I think you're going to be seeing a lot of Greg Dortch. So yeah, I love this. I love this call, and I think it's going to smash.
It's funny, out of all players, the players that we matched was Greg Dortch. So I don't know, maybe that's fantasy gods, week 3 coming through. So we'll definitely see see there. But that kind of,
Now he's going like 2 for 10.
yeah, yeah, that could be too. I guess that's how the world works sometimes. But that's kind of your main slate games. I guess we'll move on to the next section, and I'm gonna kind of rub this little image there. This is our hot take section here. So hopefully this fire works here. So I'll kick it off with my hot take of the week, and I'm gonna get a little spicy, I think, on this one. It's gonna be all receiving prop related here, and I think I don't know what it is, the plus money yet, but I know it should be pretty high. So I'm gonna say you got a 3-person parlay, and I'm gonna say CD scores 2 touchdowns, 2 receiving touchdowns. Dell gets one, Anders gets one, and take Dortch's over on receptions. And that's going to get really juicy. So I don't know what the plus money is on that, but that all I know is I'm betting it this weekend.
Hey, hopefully it hits. I know you came close this past weekend to making some money, but betting's tough, man. Betting's tough. I came close. You think something's a lock, like the Colts -3 against Malik Willis and the Packers, and it just doesn't come through for you.
Yeah. Yeah, we'll definitely see. But Ethan, what do you got for your hot take?
Okay, my hot take revolves around a parlay on my captain, Garrett Wilson. We are going to take his over 5.5 receptions, over 85.5 yards, and a Garrett Wilson anytime touchdown. That's plus 375. You can take that to the bank.
I like it. I definitely like that. So, we'll, I guess another thing. So on our socials, we've been having a couple people reach out to us recently, kind of helping with lineups and whatnot. We also have a Discord, so we can send you that link and you can join our Discord. We also like to put our bets on our Discord, all these juicy hot takes each week too. So, if you're interested just with fantasy advice, but we also talk betting in our Discord as well. And then, of course, definitely make sure you're following us on all of our socials. But until next time, folks, peace.